I have heard Shaq tell the story, seeing you on the set of Blue Chips, talking to you, then the draft happens and saying you got to trade C-Web to get Penny and all this stuff. What it was like from your perspective.
When I was going to Blue Chip, I knew that I was going to get him the ball. Every time Shaq looks up, every time his head raises, every time his hand is up, that ball is going to be hitting his hands because I want him to know this is exactly how I would do it in the league. I definitely auditioned not only for the movie, but for him.
2 or 3 days in, I'm like, yo, man, who the f*** is this actor? Throwing the ball to me too much, but he nice.
Yeah, I do it big, big, big. I'm coming to win. I do it big, big, big. Say it again. I do it big, big, big. I'm coming to win. I do it big, big, big. Say it again. I do it big. I do it big, big, big. Say it again. I do it big.
As you know from watching the big podcast, I like to partner with smart people who love to win. And to even make it better, I partner with DraftKings Sportsbook. Right now, all new customers who bet just $5 will get $150 in bonus bets instantly. Download the DraftKings app now and sign up by using my promo code BIGPOD. The crown is yours. The NBA season may be over, but we got the MLB season in full swing. Adam, which team you got going all the way? There's simply no better time than now to get in on the action and follow along with your favorite team. That's right. New customers can bet just $5 on anything and receive $150 in bonus bets instantly. Stay in on the action. Use your $150 in bonus bets on DraftKings, same game parlays for a shot at an even bigger payout. Combine multiple bets together from the same game. If sports betting is not yet available in your state, do not worry about it. DraftKings is a one-stop shop for all things daily fantasy where you can join in on all the fun and have the shot to win big cash prizes. Download the DraftKings Sportsbook app now. New customers use my promo code BIGPOD and bet just $5 on any wager and get $150 in bonus bets instantly. That's promo code BIGPOD, BIGPOD, only at DraftKings Sportsbook, baby.
What is up? What is good? How you living? How you feeling? How you doing? Welcome to another episode of the Big Podcast Shaq, where we always do it
big.
Big, this guest is very important, very near and dear to your heart, so I want to ask you sincerely, may I give him the proper introduction?
Yes, you may.
Our guest today is a god in Grind City. No matter the quarter, his dimes were oh so pretty. From high school player of the year to the big screen with Shaq, this magical duo put the 90s Bulls on their MFing back. This man dished around MJ. He put that man on a poster. When you're talking about freakish guards, he makes your best look like a coaster. Give it up for Anthony Penny Hardaway.
Yeah. I appreciate that, my man.
What's going on, brother?
Man, Diesel, it's always good to see you, my man.
I just want to say, I love you, brother.
I love you
I
too,
got
bro.
much respect for you. The older we get, we start to reflect. And I was thinking about it one day because somebody asked me to compare, and I said, forget the comparisons because a lot of people don't understand is you came in him. It took the other guy a couple years to get him. We don't go into that. But then I said to myself, we never had an argument. No, seriously, Adam.
Not even
we never
one.
Had
Not one.
No, never had an argument. Never had a fight. He never missed me on the pass. I tried to never miss me on the pass. So the more that I think about it, when I left, they tried to make it a me and him thing. It was more about an ego thing. And it didn't take me till years after that, and this is what I was trying to tell Jaylen Brown. Don't worry about useless titles. Penny had his people that love him. I had my people that love him. And not only could we coincide, we did coincide.
Yep.
But when they start trying to, Penny got his money, you didn't get no money, it got to me. And when you're 24, you don't think about that. But the older I got, I thought about it, and I'm always be trying to prop you up, brother, because again, they try to compare those guys. I played with a lot of guys, but it's only a few guys that came in him. I came in him, and you came in him. So when they start talking about Hall of Fame and all that, I don't want to hear that. If he didn't get hurt, I'm gonna definitely be throwing your name out there. And I just want to say I love you, brother. You know I love you.
I appreciate you and love you too, bro. The biggest thing, Eric Thomas said this, and it just resonated with me. He said, don't think about the obligation, think about the opportunity. And I knew what I had in you. You were the best that I ever played with. You pushed me to the highest level. Whatever I had in me, you brought more out every single night. You never settled for mediocrity. You're always about being the greatest and the best from when you stepped in and when I stepped into the locker room. So my thing was, the reason why we never got into an argument is because I understood the moment, I understood who I was playing with, and I was always thinking about the opportunity more so than the obligation. So that made me, be great at the same time.
And I want to say, because I'm older now, I get to reflect on, so I made a lot of mistakes. If I ever was you, brother, I would like to take the time to apologize to you, man to man.
You never was an
Because
asshole to
again, when
me,
you're
though.
23 and I know, but I probably said some stuff I shouldn't have said. So if I ever did rub you the wrong way, but I would listen. I was reflecting, and I'm watching things, and I hate to think about ifs, but the only question that really like is at the top of my if list is how many would Shaq and Penny would have got if they stayed together.
Yeah.
That question right there, burns the most than any other question. I could say, oh, what if him and Stanley and Chris stayed in college? How many college like that? That's a cool question, but the only question that burns me to my soul is this one: how many is Shaq and Penny would have got if they stayed together? And then the second burning question is, how many would Shaq and Kobe got if they stayed together? Like those questions you can't answer because things that happen, those are the only questions that burn my soul. But I just want to say man to man, brother, because in the life we live, sometimes they force us to be. If I was asking to you and your crew, I apologize. But I love you, brother. I miss you. I'm happy for you.
All right, so again, our friends at DraftKings, who they really want me to teach Shaquille O'Neal how to bet. It's white guy betting, WGBs, because as Shaq has told us, black guy betting is I can run over and touch that door before you can.
Straight up.
So white guy betting. There's been a lot of trades, big, including the New York made that trade, and now suddenly their odds have gotten a lot better. So who are the top 4 teams in the Eastern Conference most likely to go to the finals next year? Do you want to guess the top 4 teams from the East most likely to go to the finals named by city?
They're going to put Boston in there.
Boston is the favorite at plus 140.
They're going to put Milwaukee in there.
Milwaukee is 3 at plus 500.
And they're going to put Philadelphia in there.
Philadelphia is 4 at plus 650.
And they're going to put New York in there at number 2.
They are plus 400 at number 2. And for the first time, Shaq goes 1, 2, 3, 4. And he nails it. Incredible. DraftKings, we're teaching Shaquille O'Neal how to bet. Pretty good, Shaq. Pretty good.
Thank you, my brother. I'm getting into your business now. How do you deal with all these kids and these NIL deals? Like how do you deal with it? Because as the president of Reebok, I'm trying to do old school AAU camps, and I can't talk to players because they're playing in Adidas league and a Nike's league, and I'm like, what the fuck does that even mean? So, like, how do you, as a coach, how do you deal with all these agents and NIL players and all that stuff? Because it's kind of driving me crazy.
Yeah, it's very difficult because, you got to do it. We're in a world right now where it's happening. It's here. There's nothing that we can do about it. And it's survival of the fittest. You have to have a fan base that understands it. You have to have the donors and the rebounders and the boosters that understand it. You have to have a president and AD that believe in it and understand it. So it's a whole thing now. And it's not about hooping anymore, Shaq. Who knows what you would have gotten from LSU coming out right now? That would have been crazy numbers. But at the end of the day, think about now the foundation that we laid for these young men. They're able to get, and even the guys before us, they're able to get these type of numbers in NIL, and it's just a part of the college life now, man. And it's very difficult because instead of talking to a guy about what you can do for him from a basketball point of view or helping him become a young man to a man, it's instantly talking about the number that everybody else is offering and what can you do.
You think we should have some type of NIL governing body? Because the only thing I don't like about it is, let's just say I took $300,000 from Memphis University, or University of Memphis, excuse me, and me and you don't get along. Now I can go back in the portal and get some new money.
Yeah.
You think I should be able to say, okay, if you're gonna sign with Penny Hardaway and he give you $300,000, you at least got to stay 2 or 3 years? Like, you think there needs to be like a NIL governing body?
Man, you know what? I would love that because, you know, there should be a governing body because I think that what's making the donors and the boosters around the country frown is because they could give a guy 5, 6, 7, 800,000 and he could have the best year of his life, but if someone offers him 2 million next year, he's gone. And that's what's, you know, the problem with college sports right now.
I want to jump in because you said, imagine what Diesel would get. Because you do know what these numbers are like, and like we have, what do you like? Give a roundabout number. What kind of offers do you think Shaq would be getting in this NIL era?
Man, Shaq would have got 3, 4 million. He would have got, that would have been the highest. He would have been the highest paid ever. Seriously, at his dominance, it would have been way up there. I've seen some guys get 2, Shaq getting 4 or 5 million easy from these teams.
As a high school kid.
Yes, for sure.
But you know what I would have did? I would have did it different. And let me tell you, because I had a conversation with my kids today. For example, let's just say Lefko Industries want to give me $1 million, right? Mm-hmm. And let's just say there's this house in my mom in the neighborhood my mom always wanted for $600,000. What I would do is say, I don't want your $1 million, but can you buy my mama this house? I'm going to do business with you, but just pay my mama's house off, just in case I don't turn out to be a great player. But at least my mama's house is paid for. That's how I would do it. And instead of taking 4 or 5 million, I'm going to try to take care of the family as much as I can after I get that black on black Charger and that black on black Benz. After I get what I want, you know, I got to take care of mama.
No doubt.
5 million? Oh,
Wow.
At 17? Well, I'd have been crazy.
We have a question from the general, which is always about the big break. Penny, when did you realize you would be a successful coach? When did you look at yourself and go, I think I could actually lead a group of young men?
Well, I think my basketball IQ, I think I knew right away that I could be successful because it's about building relationships, which I really have a great feel for building relationships. And the X's and O's is everything you've learned your entire life. All the great coaches that I've played under, all the great players that I played with, all the great IQs and great minds. Been a basketball historian and understand champions and studying how they won, why they won, the mentality. So right away, I knew that when I got with a group that I would be, you know, a really good coach because of those things. Now, you can't get out there and play for them, but obviously you know how to coach the game. And I think building relationships is just as important as doing X's and O's. The Diesel.
First of all, Penny, I love your professionalism, but that's not the real answer, Adam. I knew Penny was going to be a great coach. In huddle situation where coach would draw a play, we go back to the court. Penny be like, man, that. I'm going to do this. I'm going to boom, boom, boom. Nick, D. Scott, you be ready in the corner. If he don't pick me up, I'm going to take it all the way. If he come, I'm going to be ready to shoot. Shaq's been up a lot. That's when I knew he was going to be a great coach because he would see things that other guys wouldn't be. So he gave you the corporate answer, but the non-corporate answer, like, I'm not going to call a coach out, but the coach be rolling the play. As soon as we get back out and get in our huddle, Penny be like, man, that we're not doing that. I'm about to take him out the dribble. Nick, you go to the left corner. D. Scott, you go to the right corner. Be ready to shoot. 1, 2, 3, break.
Is there truth to that, Penny? Now, we don't want your players now doing it.
We didn't do it every time, but there's some truth. If I felt something, then being the leader, I would change it. Not to disrespect the coach, but to be like, I know that this is going to work, and I knew that I had to make it work or else coach was going to get after me.
This episode of the Big Podcast with Shaq is brought to you by The General. You know Shaq loves The General. Before the league, before the rings, before I got my big break, I've been rocking with The General. The General has been offering quality coverage for 60 years. You already know The General was there for Shaq when I needed him. Low rates and flexible payment options to keep you covered. If you're ready for your big break, you know what to do. Visit thegeneral.com to get a quote today. Again, visit thegeneral.com to get a quote today. And it wouldn't be the big podcast without the general. What time is it? It's game time. Summer is here, which means endless MLB and WNBA games for the next few months. They make getting all the tickets fast and easy. Or maybe you're looking for great seats to see some great artists, Billy Joel, Bruce Springsteen, Little Baby, Public Enemy, LL Cool J, whoever. Game Time has amazing selection and a wide variety of summer concerts that you can score tickets for. One of my favorite features in all-in pricing, you can toggle this feature to see what the total price up front with no surprise fees at checkout. Plus, Game Time has incredible lowest price guarantee. If you find a lower price, they'll credit you 110% of the difference. They even offer ticket coverage with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. This means you can buy with confidence, knowing you're covered no matter what. Just download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code BIGPOD for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account on the Game Time app and redeem the code BIGPOD for $20 off your first purchase. Download Game Time today. Last minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed.
I have heard Shaq tell the story of seeing you on the set of Blue Chips, talking to you, then the draft happens and saying you got to trade C-Web to get Penny and all this stuff. I've always wondered what it was like from your perspective, where you meet this guy and then he starts moving all these chess pieces to get you. What was it like for you?
Well, here's the thing with me. I was extremely smart when I knew I was on the movie with Blue Chips because I knew Shaq was the most dominant person in the league, and to me. And I wanted to play with him really badly because I knew he would make my life easy. So when I was going to Blue Chips, I knew that I was going to get him the ball. It's just the same thing that happened when I was in the league. The late, great Pete Newell and I had a conversation, and I told him every time Shaq looks up, every time his head raises, every time his hand is up, that ball is going to be hitting his hands every single time because I want him to know this is exactly how I would do it in the league. And William Friedkin, who was our director, he allowed us to play real basketball. We didn't do any acting until the very last part when I threw Shaq the lob. So it was real basketball every day, and there were real basketball minds around. And, man, I was just diming him every time. And you know what he's going to do when he's getting the ball in scoring position? He's scoring it every time. So he looked at that situation. I mean, no knock on Chris Webber. We both love Chris Webber, respect Chris Webber, but that the guard big combination was better than the big combination. And I definitely auditioned not only for the movie, but for him.
Do you remember any acting tips that he gave you back then, since he had already kind of done some stuff?
No. We're not gonna go that far. No acting tips.
And the great thing about that story, Adam, is D. Scott would always tell me, man, you got to start taking over. Because I'm the kid, whatever the coach says, you do it, right? Our team was not even close to being built for a championship. D. Scott was like, man, you got to take over now. So he would always say, you got to take over. And I wouldn't say I was shy, but I was always respectful. And then I'm playing with Penny, and like 2 or 3 days in, I'm like, yo, man, who is this actor? This throwing the ball to me too much, but he nice. Like, can play. And they say, yo, man, that's Penny Hardaway. And I'm like, who? Then they went back and showed me his tape. I was like, oh, he's a college player? They say, yeah, he put his name in the draft. They say he can go top 3. So now I said, okay, now D. Scott telling me, hey, you got to do this, you got to do that. I said, I'm going to try it. I'm going to just try it. I picked up the phone, and I was terrified. I was like, listen, John, I'm playing with this guy, Penny Hardaway. You heard of him? Yeah, I heard of him, but we're going to go with C-Web. I said, I don't think you should do that. I think you should go with him. Huh? I said, listen, if you don't pick this guy here with my deal up, I'm going to be looking somewhere else. And I hung up the phone. Like, I didn't want to do it because I'm not that guy. I like to let my agent handle that. So now I'm at home. Movie's over. I'm at home. And they didn't do it. So now I was like, D. Scott set me up. Don't worry, I'm tearing my house up, busting mirrors. Penny, you remember that, little pool house I had? I'm busting out windows. I'm mad. And then they did it, and I was like, oh, my God, it worked. Because the way he was diming me up, I was thinking new Magic Johnson and new Kareem. Because, listen, I've never had a guy that size. I always had the little guys dime me up, but this kid was 6'9". And Adam, when I'm telling you he threw the ball at me every time, he actually gave me confidence to be like, okay, go ahead and score. Because I'm used to, pick and roll, okay, now you score. Playing with him, it's like, no, score. Score again. Score again. Score. So I know a lot of people know I put barbecue sauce on that story, but this is the true story. I didn't know who Penny was. I thought he was an actor. And I asked some dude, and he looked at me. He said, man, that's Penny Hardaway. I'm like, who? He said, man, he played. I'm like, oh, so he's a real player. He's like, yeah. I said, well, I got to get him on the squad.
Yeah, and from my side, it was basically it was a setup for me. I was like, if I don't do it now, it's never going to happen. And I really wanted to be in Orlando with Shaq, so that's how it worked out.
I know that Shaq is a very, very proud fraternity member of Omega Psi Phi. And so when I found out that Penny was a proud member of Kappa Alpha Psi, was that ever an issue? Because I know how important fraternity life is to you, big fella.
Let me answer first. One time I challenged him with that cane, and he set that thing off in the locker room. He went crazy. I was like, I will never disrespect him again.
Oh, man, Diesel.
That man had that thing, and he was twirling that thing, and boom, boom. I was like, oh, like for a big guy, it was only one other big guy I seen rocking. That was Montel Jordan. So like I always used to mess with Kenny. He was like, you can't stop. You know, us is I said, bro, you don't know how to work that cane. He brought that thing in one day and started twirling that thing. I was like, oh my God. I was actually mesmerized. I really was. So we didn't have a problem. I definitely respect him, but he know how to work that cane. Trust me, he do.
We never had any problems on the fraternity side, Adam.
Never.
No.
Actually, Penny got mad at me one time.
I did get mad at him one time.
I'm gonna tell you why. No, I'm gonna tell you why. Little Penny was hot.
Oh, it was hot. Little Penny was everywhere.
Little Penny
Chris
was
Rock.
hot. So one time I was doing a Reebok commercial, and I ain't gonna lie, Little Penny was outselling me. So now I got to make some noise. So I did like this Reebok commercial where Little Penny was at the end. This is my planet.
You got room for a brother on your planet.
When I came in the locker room, Penny ain't say nothing, but Penny was mad at him. I was like, oh, maybe I shouldn't have did that. But like we used to do pranks all the time, but Penny was mad as hell.
I was mad that time. We didn't get into an argument, but I was mad. I was like, okay, I got you, big fella.
Yeah.
Little Penny was everywhere. But
he was hot.
On the fraternity thing, I remember when Shaq was telling me this story, and Shaq was like, oh, I was pledging a fraternity, and then the coach found out and was like, what are you doing? The notion of you guys, top NBA draft picks, being in these fraternities. Now you're a coach of Memphis. Like, I don't know if that'll ever happen. But back then, I mean, this was part of the process. This is what was happening. But now it'll never happen, right?
I mean, like you said, back then it was a part of the game. Like the fraternities they ran the yard, the athletes in the fraternities. So you just chose which one you wanted, and that's what it was about. All the women love the athletes, they love the fraternities, and if you're an athlete that got into a fraternity, then you had a lot of clout.
A lot of clout.
So it was like a step up. Like you weren't just a college athlete, you were even above that.
Oh, absolutely. You're definitely above that when you're in fraternity and you're a college athlete.
Because they had something that we wanted. They wanted that status and that clout. Of course, you can have status as an athlete, but they had all the other. Like I would see guys, like we had this little dude named, well, a little dude, but his name was Peanut, same size as Penny, Q-Dog, respect out of this world. So when I saw them, I was like, man, I want to be part of them. That's what I want to be with. So yeah, but they were kind of knuckleheads on the yard. So when you think about NIL and brand and all that, coach was trying to protect me, but I was like, I don't want protection. I want to be, I definitely want to be part of that. Today's episode is brought to you by Morgan & Morgan. As the NBA's most dominant big men of all time, I'm living proof that size matters. And the same should go for your law firm. Morgan & Morgan is America's largest injury law firm with over 100 offices nationwide and more than 1,000 lawyers. If you're ever injured, you can check out Morgan & Morgan. Their fee is free unless they win. For more information, go to forthepeople.com/thebig or dial pound law. That's pound 529 from your cell phone. Again, that's forthepeople.com/big or pound law 529 from your cell. This is a paid advertisement.
The Little Penny movement, I think it's actually interesting. I am a sneakerhead, And we are about to have later this year the re-release of these incredible things.
Yes, sir.
Ooh.
The Nike Foamposite Dark Neon Royal. I mean, this is when I see these, I think of Penny Hardaway. And the Foamposite was a movement. Just from a sneakerhead perspective, Penny, what was that like to be a part of so many big, iconic cultural sneakers?
You know, it was crazy how it all came about because we were in the playoffs, and Nike brought the sneaker to me and asked me did I like them. I loved them right away because I understood, don't know how, that this was going to be more of a futuristic sneaker. It wasn't normal. I had never seen that before, and I was like, I want to be the first guy to rock these. And I wore them in the game in a series against the Philadelphia 76ers, and they made me put the tape in between because it wasn't really a road shoe. It was a home shoe, and I wore them on the road. And David Stern, rest in peace, called our equipment manager, whoever from the NBA called our equipment manager and said, Penny cannot wear those shoes again on the road. So we put electrical tape. That's when they called it the Sharpie foam. We put black electrical tape. Oh, see it, Shaq.
Yeah, I remember seeing it.
Sid put the tape in between the ridges, and I wore them, and the tape was coming off. So we started filling in where the tape was coming off with the Sharpie, just to make them a black sneaker so they wouldn't find me.
Wow.
And to be a part of that movement was crazy.
Oh, the Foamposites, dude, I live in New York. Foamposite is like a New York shoe that people will wear out on the street. Like that's a summer shoe. I'm about to see that all the time in New York.
Oh, yeah, and the DMV.
Penny, I've been knowing you 20, 25 years. I've never asked you this question. Where'd the name Penny come from?
My grandmother. My grandmother said I was pretty as a penny when I was born. You know how grandmothers are, Shaq. You couldn't argue with grandmother.
Pretty. Yeah, you can't. Pretty as
That's
a
what it
penny.
was.
Okay. That makes sense. Yeah, I
You
never
really
knew
didn't
that.
know? I looked it up today.
No.
Yeah, my
I
grandmother
never
did
asked him. And then Penny, I talked about this the other day, and intelligent people like us understood it, but the non-intelligent people didn't understand it. I've always used professional jealousy. As long as you respect, I've always used that as motivation. For example, when I got there, I was all by myself. Now here comes Penny Hardaway. He's selling similar jersey sales. He's selling similar shoe sales. Did you think like that and also use it as motivation being on the team with me? Because listen, even though we were friends, and then one thing about me, I'm never going to disrespect you, but I knew I had competition, but I used that because like my thing was saying, okay, Penny coming in here stealing my shine, I still got to average 28, 30. Like that's how I've always, you know what I'm saying? Like the time we beat Mike,
Yeah.
my whole process was they always talking about Mike. They always talking about Mike. Forget that. It's me and Penny's time. So do you use, and I hope you use at the same time, do you use the term professional jealousy as motivation?
Absolutely. I mean, well, how can you not? When you have that drive and you see things, it just burns you. You know, it should burn you to be better. It burn you to greatness, really. And for sure, even like you said with the Reebok deal versus the Nike deal, and I felt like I wanted to be the best in the world. And like I said, it was never disrespect, but there's no way you respect me as a man if I'm not trying to be the best in my craft. Wasn't bowing to anybody because we were both fighting for the same things in the league and everywhere because I wanted to be the best guard in the world. So at the end of the day, I knew I had to handle my business. I knew you were going to handle yours. And that was motivation at all times, for sure.
Since nobody knows Memphis quite like you, we had this in the NBA draft where Zach Edey gets drafted by the Memphis Grizzlies. And I'm curious, since you know the college game really well, how do you think he'll translate? What do you think about him with Ja Morant and that roster?
Well, I think that the Grizzlies, had to make a decision on a center because we needed a center. And Zach Edey, come on, man, he's not some bum. Zach Edey can really play. Now, on this level of the NBA, it's going to be faster. Guys are going to be pulling him out of the paint and bringing him on the perimeter. But if you watched him, he's pretty mobile to be that big. He's not this slow guy that can't move. So I think for the times that they pull him out to the perimeter, he'll have to go out there and learn how to play. But anything coming to that basket, man, he's coming weak side and is going to protect the rim. So for me, rebounding and protecting the rim, being in that drop coverage, it might hurt them sometimes, maybe not. But at the end of the day, I think he'll be a bigger force offensively for them because, man, you got to account for him on that role. You got to account for him getting to that basket.
What do you think, Shaq?
Coach Penny, I want to ask the coach question. When are we going back to old school basketball? You just talked about the drop coverage and doing all the switching. Why don't we go back to old school? You're 7 foot. I don't want you guarding. I don't want you guarding Dame Lillard when they go to the 1-5 pick and roll. So when, as a coach, when do you decide? Because back in our day, it was all about adjustments. When are we going to make real adjustments again, rather than just doing what everybody else is doing? If you're a small team like Golden State, 1-5 is okay. But if you got Zach Edey on the court, Milwaukee. When we play Milwaukee, Dame gonna go to 1-5 pick and roll to see what you're gonna do. So as a coach, when are we going back to the old school defense?
I think it's coming soon, to be very honest with you. They have to evolve if they're going to draft guys like Zach Edey. Because think about it, he can't switch 1 through 5. You just can't switch 1 through 5 with him. You have to go back to a hard show. You got to go back to maybe a corral and then get back, and then the rest of the guys just kind of hold it down until he gets back. And then you got to put that guard under pressure to make him make passes. Nowadays, I don't trust guards can make passes through those type of situations anymore. I think they have the easy route. When it's a drop coverage or a switch 1 through 5, they have it really easy. But if you get back to some old school coverage, because everybody's not going to be the stretch big. You know, you have some guys in the NBA this year in the playoffs that weren't stretch bigs. They were pick and roll guys. They weren't pick and pop guys. So how are those guys going to survive, on the defensive end? And to me, when you get Zach Edey, you have to adjust. And I don't think that's a bad thing.
So one thing that cracks me up about Shaq all the time is we'll be doing TV and he'll say, "This is unacceptable. All you need to do is average 8 points a quarter and you get 32 points, and that's how you become great." And I've always laughed because it has always seemed so easy in Shaq's brain because he's Shaq.
Yeah.
I was curious, as like the running mate, what was it like to be teammates with someone that really could do whatever they wanted out there? How would you embrace that? And then also, what did you have to deal with somebody like that?
No, so for me, that was his mentality to get 8 a quarter, and I was feeding him, but he had to go to the bench. When he went to the bench, I got my 6 per quarter. That was my number. When he went to the bench, I got my 6 per quarter. There was no way you weren't stopping me from getting 6 per quarter. So, and you got to do it in multiple ways. If you're just a shot attempt guy, I went to the offensive glass, I called lobs, I shot threes, I got to the foul line, I posted up, I scored multiple ways. So when you do that, it's easy to get 6. It's easy to get 8. But when you're just a shooter and you're relying on a jump shot every time, it's hard to get 6 and 8 a quarter, unless you're just so efficient like Steph and Clay and those guys.
Do you ever have a moment where you're out with Shaq and Shaq put the big bear claw on you and was like, "You got to get out of here"? Like he kind of was like the guardian angel that got you out of trouble?
No, we really never really got in any trouble, man. We were like the cool kids, man. I ain't gonna even lie to you. We were the cool kids, and back then everybody loved us. So everywhere we get, it was a frenzy. Everywhere we went, it was like a frenzy. And that's you asked me the question earlier. Just playing with Shaq was like the traveling Beatles, man. Everywhere we went, it was packed everywhere. So at the end of the day, I enjoyed it because, again, I was in the moment. I took all of it in because I knew that this was special, what we had with every arena, every hotel, outside of the hotels, inside. It was always packed, and wherever you went, people screaming, people chasing, people wanting to get a picture or an autograph. So I understood what that was about.
Shaq has talked before about how after you guys beat the Bulls, maybe you celebrated too hard because it was, what a great moment. For both of you guys, to grow up and to watch somebody like Michael Jordan and then to knock them off, I just want to know, what was that feeling like? Because those 90s Bulls teams, in retrospect, we put them on such a pedestal.
And I'll go first. You got to have dogs, right? I knew what my mentality was. Now when I'm looking at Penny, I know that's his mentality. Now, we had this little fun thing that we would do. Penny was the master of the guard alliance, right? So B. Shaw and all of them, they listen to Penny. D. Scott, they listen to Penny. I handled the big man lines, the power forwards and the centers. So if your two main guys are believing that we can win, everybody else is going to believe. Penny is the only guy that I've seen that didn't really care he was playing against Michael Jordan. Like it really, and that's how I was. So, and now the only thing, because we match up with him pretty well. So now I know I got to do a little bit better at the free throw line because they're already telling us their game plan. 3-headed monster, we're going to use our 18 fouls. So I called my boy Buzzy Brayman, and I really shot a lot of free throws. A lot. I shot so many free throws I hated it, but it worked. And so, a couple good games, I would have really good free throw lines, and they had no answer for that. So now when it comes down like we're up a game, now Penny got to have a great game, and I got to have a great game. And those last two games, which is easy for us, that's how we was able to beat them that year. Of course, they're going to say, hey, Mike was 45. He wasn't the same Mike. It don't matter. Whoever's on the court, at what happened. Like, you talk about Boston championship this year. It don't matter that the other guys were not healthy. That's not our problem, not our fault. Whoever stepped on the court, Boston had to go through multiple 7-game series, and they won the championship. So Penny and I, two guys with the same attitude that year, and we were able to win.
Yeah, from my point of view, it was a respect, but it wasn't a fear. The Bulls had fear in people, and for me, it was an anxiousness to get to it, because if you're the greatest of all time, which I respect, then you're gonna have to show me. That just was my mentality. I wanted to play against Michael Jordan. It was, if we were gonna get to a championship, it was gonna have to go through him, and we had already played half the season. It's like the favorites kind of. We were rolling. We were in our own lane, and again, it wasn't disrespect. It was just we were ready to get after it and ready to go at the Bulls. And again, Michael Jordan came on the court. It's Michael Jordan. I mean, obviously, he had a full summer with revenge on his mind after we beat him on his mind. Came back a different mindset and locked in. But at the end of the day, we played against the Bull teams, the Bulls that won championships, and were able to to conquer that.
And you see that attitude right there?
Yeah, it was great.
That made it refreshing for me, because I already know what I'm going to do. So when you get a young kid going like a sound, I don't give we playing. I'm like, oh, okay. You want to go to the hood and get it cracking? Let's go get it cracking. And then you got guys following him. You got guys following me, and it was so beautiful.
So
it really was.
The game's over, and you look, and the pinstripes are successful, and Michael Jordan's walking off with his head down. You said you wanted that challenge. What was it like after accepting and completing the challenge, Penny?
No, it was a beautiful thing because we won. Again, I'm a basketball guy. I'm a basketball historian. I'm understanding in the moment what we're doing. And I've watched countless film on Scotty. I had watched countless film on MJ. And I just knew, their sweet spots. I knew what they were going to do. I knew the ball handling and the rhythm that they like to be in. And we just tried to make it hard. And for me, once we overcame that hurdle, it was like, man, we just beat the Bulls. At that time, it's like, we just beat the Bulls. Now it's time to go on and, and face the Indiana Pacers.
And I think what it taught me, though, was to never celebrate until the job is done. Because after we beat them, we were happy. Pacers knocked us around. We eventually got it back. But now that we got to the finals, me personally, I don't know what Penny and his crew was doing, but me personally, I was doing way too much. Because Penny, if you remember, I think we had like 7 or 8 days off.
Yeah, we did. We had a lot of days off.
So Coach Hill gave us 3 days off. The statute of limitations up, so I'm gonna go ahead and snitch on myself. Me and D. Scott jumped in the flight. We was at Magic City. We was in Atlanta. We was chilling all night, partying. And then we tried to come back on day 4 for the practice. Had a terrible practice. It didn't matter. I had an appearance at Universal Studios. I had a pre-parade at Disney. Like, I was working all the way until the night before the game, and then I tried to go through my regular ritual, stay up all night, DJ, let the music. So the next game, I was tired. We played well. We got off to a good start, and then, something happened at the end. But once we lost that momentum, it was hard to get back. So I blame myself for us not getting that first championship.
Were you partying too, Penny, or were you studying film?
I was studying film and sleep, bro. I'm telling you, man, that was just how I was. And I respected Sam. Sam and
Penny never went out.
Sam and I, no, I didn't go out one time. Sam, Cassell, and I used to be in Houston in the summertime playing one-on-one full court. So Sam and I were close. And we would challenge each other because my agent was in Houston. And we would challenge each other playing one-on-one full court. So I knew all about Sam, obviously. Had nothing but respect for Kenny Smith and Vernon Maxwell and Mario Hilly and Robert Ory and those guys. But not once did I think we were going to lose. We got up, I think, 20 points in the first half, and we just lost whatever rhythm we had. And at the very end, we were supposed to take a delay of game. Me and Shaq talked about this before. We were up 3, and Kenny Smith made the 3 on me because I relaxed because Nick was supposed to take a delay of game, and we didn't take a delay of game. And he made that shot, and then we never recovered from it, man. I'll never forget that. That's one of my biggest regrets, was losing that game 1. If I could have one game over, it would have been that game 1.
Kenny Smith.
Legit.
you brought up Sam Cassell. I don't want to talk bad about JJ Redick because he has his opportunity with the Lakers, and congratulations to him and good luck to him. But this is the third straight coaching cycle where Sam Cassell is supposed to be one of the coaching candidates for one of these vacancies, and it's another opportunity that doesn't actually get fulfilled. He gets brought on, he gets retained with the Boston Celtics. What do you think about a guy like Sam, who's been one of the top coaching prospects, but he just never gets that call to be a head coach in the NBA?
Long overdue, bro. They just don't respect the old school as much. The new school guys they respect. And again, congratulations to JJ. I think he's a brilliant mind, basketball mind. But Sam Cassell has gone through the entire whatever you need him to do as far as being an assistant coach under so many different guys and winning championships as a player and as a coach. He's definitely deserving, man. But I think that's pretty sad, man. That guy works harder than anyone. He knows the game. He's done everything that he was supposed to do as a coach to be afforded to have a job and just hadn't gotten a job yet. And I think that's sad.
Yeah, I agree.
I would like to see equal coverage as well as equal opportunity. Like I didn't know Sam Cassell wanted to be a coach. He didn't get the same. Like as soon as JJ announced it on his podcast, it went crazy, and everybody's talking about it. Everybody's talking about it. I would like to, whoever wants to be the coach for the next team, I want equal coverage. I want to know. I want to know that Sam Cassell's been assistant coach for 15 years. I want to know this. I want to know Brian Hill is coming back. I want to know. I didn't even know. So
Sam is such a good assistant coach that the Boston Celtics just paid him a salary so high so that nobody could steal him.
Wow.
That's how well regarded he is as an assistant.
Yeah, but it just makes you pay more attention to the conversation about equal opportunity as coaches.
Yeah.
Like, if you think about it, J.J. Redick, who I like, he really don't have a lot of experience, but he jumps to the front. So, people like us who are basketball historians and minds, we're saying, okay, how does this guy jump to the front and this guy been boom, boom, boom. So that's why I say I want equal coverage. I want to know who's who, so we can make a, proper, decision.
Retrospect question, and it's I'm sure a lot of people come up to you, Penny, and they're like, man, could you imagine if you didn't get hurt? And you're like, okay, I've dealt with this so many times. But when you're with somebody like, let's say, Grant Hill, and you guys both kind of get talked about that way, what kind of communication can you guys have that people like myself will never understand?
You know what happens when me and G are together? We just talk about the good times. We don't even talk about the injuries. We talk about how fun it was dominating the game, how great it was to be able to play the game and be afforded that, and be blessed enough for that. That's all G and I talk about, families and about the great times. We've never talked about, man, what if, because that's already understood. You know what I mean? That's already understood between us. Like, we know where we were if we don't get injured. And I agree with Shaq. Everybody wants to put this label on me. Well, he would have been this. Man, I dominated the game for a minute. I mean, long enough, I dominated the game. And anybody that said I didn't, it is what it is. But G and I already have the understanding because he has been actually elevated to have more respect of the game and being in the Hall of Fame and doing things of that nature because of who he is and rightfully deserving of so. But for me, I'm just grinding it out, man. And again, when I see my man, it's all about the good stuff. And we really never talk about the bad stuff.
Penny, because of you, I have to curse so many little kids out. No, seriously, because the reason why is they ask me all the time. They say, who's better, Penny or Kobe? And I always say Penny was Kobe before Kobe. And the kids before this social media era, they act like they don't understand what I'm telling them. Then I have to tell them, do you have Google, you little stupid? Look and see who Penny was. And remember, Penny came in day one like this. Kobe first year didn't start. Second year didn't start. Third year upstairs saying, okay, hey, it's time for him to play. Then he started, took him 600 to 900 days to become the Black Mama. Penny came in Penny. When I met Penny Hardaway before he was on my team, he was Penny. He was a shiny brand. So I have to explain that to them all the time. So I always want to give you your love. I'm always going to give you your props. I'm always going to remind these little dumb kids what greatness is all about. And I appreciate you, brother. And again, if I was to you any time in my career, I apologize. I'm older now. I can reflect. Like I said, when you first came on, it was crazy. I was sitting back thinking about, okay, what am I going to ask Penny? What do people want to hear? And then I realized, like, bro, we never had a fight. We never had an argument. The other guy, every day. Once he became that Black Mamba, every day. D Wade, our relationship was just like yours. Then towards the end, I'm like, hey, man, you want to be the man? Okay, do something. Like we had that one argument after we got blown out in game 2 because they looking at me to do it. I'm like, bro, I'm getting quadruple team. I ain't Shaq no more. You do something, D Wade. And he took off. So me and D Wade, one argument. Me and you, no argument. Me and the other guy.
Except for the little penny when you
Yeah, when
stopped
he hit
on
little
stopped
penny,
No,
on
yeah.
he
time.
listen. He was mad. He didn't talk to me for a week, but he never said anything. But I knew he was mad. I knew he was mad. I love you, Coach. And if you ever need anything from me, brother, you know I'm there, brother.
Yep. Continued success, my man. All love. Keep working like I know you
All right.
will. Adam, appreciate it.
And I want to say one more thing. I want to say congratulations, because the one thing that we really do care about in the big podcast is family,
Yep.
and we really care about our moms. And I read recently that your mom's cancer is in remission.
Yes.
And I
Thank you. I
want to say
appreciate that.
congratulations. I hope that you have so much time with her and so much love, because that's a beautiful thing that I got to read, man. So God bless.
Yeah, no,
big
thank you, my
time.
brother. I appreciate that.
Tell Mama hi,
Shout
brother.
out to all the moms out there.
And I love you, brother.
Love you, bro.
Hell yeah.
All right, I'll
All
talk
right,
to you.
peace.
Thank you,
All
brother.
right.
Peace.
Peace.
That was Penny Hardaway. Really, really cool to see you guys talk. But I gotta admit, Shaq, little Penny would have made me jealous too, because that whole ad campaign with Chris Rock walking around me, I got little pennies. That was everywhere.
And again, that messed up history. It messed up unknown history. What I mean by that, how many of you think me and Penny could have won if we stayed together?
And the team started being built around you guys,
No,
yeah, I mean, as many as
but
you have now.
I feel that, but because of ego and useless titles and this and that, and this is what I was trying to warn Jaden Brown about, and he wasn't paying attention. He still didn't know what I was talking about, but it's useless. Like, for example, you got the number one podcast. What does that mean? What does it mean?
It doesn't really mean anything.
Adam, you're the number one upcoming NBA commentator. What does that mean?
Well,
Shaq, you're the best big man ever. What does that really mean? Doesn't mean nothing. Are you a good person? You take care of people. You respect people. This is what life is all about. And then when I said we never had an argument, so now I'm looking back. Why did we break up?
Yeah,
Egos.
Other people talking.
Egos. Yeah, other people talking, and like that was the only time I broke the professional jealousy thing, because Penny was on my jersey sales. So I'm you know what? I'm gonna make a confession.
Okay.
When they said it wasn't my team no more, it hurt a little bit. So since they said it wasn't my team, it's his team now. Let's see what the other teams want to offer me. So the other teams offer me more than what my team was willing to offer, and I took advantage of it. But again, if I didn't have that attitude, how many could we have won? Because I was really, when I tell you that I was thinking about it, I was like, I'm like really smoking my hookah, trying to go back. Like, no, bro, we never had a fight or argument ever. It wasn't no, and it was no never pat the ball. It was never that.
Yeah.
Ever. When I say 0, 0. The 4 years we played together, I never had to go to him and say, "Hey, man, I'm open."
It's
Ever.
it's easy to look back and have retrospect and to get upset at our younger selves. I think the thing that I always think about is I never want to define myself by something that you said. Oh, I'm the best broadcaster or whatever. Because then what happens when you're not broadcasting? You lose yourself. And so for me, I never want to identify with someone else's rankings, because then I'm always going for their approval. And that's not how I want to live my life.
And this is why I have problems with all these podcasts out now. Everybody's going for these useless titles, so they break a lot of rules to maintain that.
You really don't like Shannon Sharp. It's okay. We'll get past. I'm just kidding. I'm only kidding.
No, it's not him. It's other people. Like I can tell the famous podcasters that really like being a podcaster. I don't want to be known for having a podcast.
Yeah. Well,
I do not.
you can stop
I do
saying that
not.
because it's offending
No,
me. I'm just
no.
kidding.
Let me tell you something. This is fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
an opportunity. I'm doing it with my best friends. I don't want to be known for this. I'm
Right.
already known for what the hell I'm known for. I'm known for two things: most dominant ever, and Shaq's a nice guy. That's it.
And
Number one podcast.
and the shake memes.
Listen, number one podcast, number two podcast. I hate to be arrogant. Doesn't affect my money either way. You know, when you get older, you reflect. Those are the only questions I really think about. The second one is how many would I have won if me and Kobe stuck together?
Yeah.
That one's that's 60%, but the one that's 1,000% in my brain. How many championships would Shaq and Penny have won if they stayed together?
Especially because the East started to fall apart.
No, forget that. We never had a fight, bro.
Yeah.
Ever.
Can't say that about a lot of people.
I was never mad at him. Ever. He was never mad at me. Ever. I was upset because when he signed and sat out, I stuck up for him. When I signed and was sitting out, maybe he was sticking up for me, maybe he wasn't, but I didn't see it. And then you're hearing all that, oh, it ain't his team no more, it ain't no team no more. So I'm like, okay, if it ain't my team, what the other team's going to do? And then somebody else offered me more money, and I went. Never had a fight. Yeah, so it was more of a, and you know, but you know what's crazy about greatness? Sometimes you have to do that to become great. So even though I'm sitting here being hard on myself,
we wouldn't have had the Shaq and Kobe Lakers.
You wouldn't have. And then to make it all grace, if I don't go there, oh boy, not a Laker anyway.
Oh, Kobe.
And if I don't go there, no, he's in Charlotte. He's in Charlotte. So, you know what I'm saying? Everything happened for a reason, but do your research. If I don't go there, he's not there.
Well, our guy Penny Hardaway, coach in Memphis, we wish him all the luck. Great dude. I love that you guys can continue talking, and we'll keep it rolling.
We never had a fight.
Bro, I heard you.
No.
We're about to have a fight if you say it one more time.
No, it's just crazy. Like, and you know what's crazy? Somebody asked me if I met Q-Tip, one of my favorite artists. I only met him twice. I'm 50 years old. I was with my boy Chip Fu from the Food Shrink the other day. I only seen Busta Rhymes once. I only seen LL, I only seen Rihanna once. I only seen Janet Jackson 3 times.
Taylor Swift once.
Somebody asked me if I used to attend old boys party. Never went.
Oh,
Never went. Never went.
Neither did I.
You know what's crazy? Only met him once. One time.
What happened?
It's crazy. No, just shook hands, respect. But I was like, damn, I know all these people. I only met them one time.
That's it for the episode of the Big Podcast. We'll holler at you later for the Big Shaq Diesel for Penny Hardaway. I'm the LEFKOE. Man, and we'll holler at you.
Make sure you check out Shaq.com.
Shaq.com. Get that merch.
Yeah.
2 or 3 days in, I'm like, yo, man, who the f- is this actor